I am Cédric Legrand, the Managing Director of the FKCCI, the French Korean Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I am with Mrs. Sonia Chayeb, Executive Sales at the FKCCI. Then we would like today to introduce you Korean economy and its opportunities for foreign investors. We'll see that Korea is a good option if you are looking for a dynamic market, as most of economic indicators are now positive and economic forecasts more and more optimistic. We'll also see how we can support you to enter the market and to develop your business in Korea.
I think some of you have the mic on. Thank you.
Okay. Then I propose you to begin with a short update on the sanitary situation in Korea. Compared to other countries in the world, the situation is quite good. Korea was one of the first countries to experience the first wave at the end of February with 500 daily cases on a weekly average. At this time, a lot of emotion and concerns were raised in Korea and around the world. But from this stage, sanitary measures taken by the Korean authority seriously reduced the number of COVID-19 cases. Then after a while, there was a small wave during the summer 2020 and a third wave in December with around 1,000 new cases per day. These days, the number of new cases is around 600-700 per day. Then on a cumulative basis, since 2020, Korea has recorded 110,000 cases and less than 2,000 deaths. Then on the whole, we can say that Korea's strategy against COVID-19 has been effective from a sanitary point of view, thanks to the so-called sanitary strategy of 3T, testing, tracing, and treatment. Then Korea has anticipated well by securing in a very early stage its supply of PCR tests, in particular from local producers, which have demonstrated the flexibility of the Korean production tool. Testing campaigns were also massive. People who were tested positive are immediately treated and placed in quarantine for 14 days. The health authorities are tracing all contamination chains to detect people who have been in contact with a positive person. In particular, they implemented a tracking platform that use data from mobile phone, credit cards, and CT cameras. This platform was set up very quickly by the ministry in charge of the infrastructure on the basis of a platform developed for smart cities and within the framework of an exceptional legislation that was adopted to be able to face sanitary crisis. Then the specificity of the Korean strategy is based on the balance between sanitary efficiency and economic requirements. Then Korea has never confined the country and even agrees today to have a certain number of cases to ensure the business continuity. It is why, as we'll see today, Korea posted good economic results and economic forecasts are also very good. Then the population in Korea is composed of 52 million inhabitants over a territory of 100,000 square kilometers. Then it is 5-6 times smaller than the French territory. Therefore, Korea is a very high density country. Furthermore, the population is very concentrated in urban areas, and in particular around the capital, as half of the population lives in the metropolitan area of Seoul, 10 million in Seoul City, and 16 million in its suburbs. And the population has slightly increased over the past few years, and even recorded a small decline in 2020, linked both to a structural factor, the low rate of a natural increase, which became negative in 2020, and a temporary factor, the decline in the number of foreign nationals. Then we can see the impact of the low fertility rate in Korea on the pyramid of age, with less younger generation. It has, of course, some implication on consumption patterns. In particular, we note high expenditure per child, as well as increasing aging-related expenditures. We'll review these consumer trends a little later. It has also an impact on foreign investment, as Korea needs foreigners and needs investment. It is why, as we'll see today, Korea established very good conditions to welcome foreign investors, and Korea is expecting a surge of foreign population over the coming years to reach 7% by 2040, according to the Korean Statistical Office. Now, there are 1.7 million foreign residents in Korea. They represent 3.2% of the population, and it's far less than in France. In particular, French community is the first European community in Korea, with 4,500 French residents. The second community, the second European community, is a German one, with 3,300 residents. Then the structure of the pyramid of age also show that the size of the Korean labor market is quite comparable to France, since the number of people in their working age is 37 million in Korea against 41 million in France. And we'll see now the employment. The employed active population in Korea represents 27 million people, a level similar to France. Employment rate is a little higher in Korea, almost 66% of the population aged 15 to 64. The labor force has remained relatively stable in the recent times. In 2020, employed population decreased by 200,000, with 100,000 decrease for self-employed people, and a similar decrease for salaried jobs. Among salaried jobs, we see a very different trend between permanent employees and temporary workers. The number of permanent employees increased by 300,000, but the number of daily and temporary workers decreased in 2020 by 400,000, mainly in two sectors, wholesale and retail, and accommodation and restoration. As we may know, activity decreased for stores with the success of the e-commerce, and hotel and restaurant activity decreased too due to the tourism and delivery meals. Then in March 2021, employment has increased for the first time after 13 months of continuous decrease since February 2020. Korean economy gained in March 300,000 jobs, mainly in manufacturing industry, thanks to the increasing exports and investment, as well as thanks to the consumption recovery. Then we'll see that all those indicators turn positive. The unemployment rate reached 4.3% of the active population in Q1, with 1.2 million unemployed people at the beginning of this month. But the unemployment rate remains still high for young people at 10%. Then finally, we can say that the labor market in Korea has shown a good resilience. In particular, if we take into account the fact that Korea has not implemented a massive partial unemployment compensation scheme, the public support was very targeted on a few sectors, such as hotel and tourism. But in most sectors, there was, as we say, the business continuity without any lockdown, and then the employment safeguarding was real. I mean, the situation is quite different with France, as we know that the unemployment figures for the fourth quarter in France do not necessarily reflect the economy reality on the labor market. The growth of the Korean economy over the past few years has been around 3%. It went down to 2% in 2019 and was negative in 2020, as many countries. But Korea has shown a good resilience, as the drop was limited to 1%. Manufacturing production decreased by 0.9% in 2020, but we saw recovery in manufacturing in Q4, thanks to semiconductors, chemical products, and electrical equipment. We saw a similar trend for construction, with a decrease by 0.9% in 2020, but an improvement of the activity also from Q4, in particular, thanks to the building construction and civil engineering works. Services decreased by 1.1%, with a very different situation again, with on one side tourism and or accommodation, and on the other side sector as ICT and healthcare services, which steadily increased. Overall, economic activity was slightly affected by the crisis. During the peak in the second quarter of 2020, GDP growth fell only by 3.2% against 14% in France. Then, thanks to this good resistance, Korea gained 2 places in 2020 ranking of the largest world economies. It has surpassed Brazil and Russia to enter in the top 10. For 2021, GDP growth forecast are between 3 and 4%. For now, the Korean government did not update yet its forecast. Then it is at 3.2%, but most of other institutions have revised upwards their forecast in April. The Bank of Korea expects a growth of 3.5%. The IMF expects a growth of 3.6%. And the consensus of the 9 major investment banks is around 3.8%, and even 4.8% for UBS, and 4.1% for JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. Then this optimism comes in particular from the trends that we are going to see on the recovery of export and consumption since the beginning of this year. The production index increased by 2.1% in February and is now above the level of the previous year. In particular, the manufacturing production index increased by 5% in February. Then from the point of view of the economic activity, we can say that the crisis is behind Korea. We don't have yet the result for Q1 of the GDP growth, but the President Moon announced yesterday that the Korean economy has recovered to a pre-pandemic level on a rapid rebound in export and investments. Then the inflation in Korea is low since 2019. Prices grew by 0.5% last year, as in France. But we see an acceleration of the inflation since the beginning of this year, mainly due first to the agricultural prices and international oil prices, but also as a sign of recovery since a few weeks. Consumer prices in Q1 increased by 1.1% year on year, and for March only, they rose by 1.5%. The inflation outlook of the Bank of Korea for 2021 is at 1.3, and the head of the bank recently warned that there is a possibility that inflation will exceed this projection while staying below the central bank's medium-term target, which is at 2%. It is why the Bank of Korea has decided to maintain its accommodative monetary stance and to keep its main interest rate at a record low level of 0.5% since May 2020. And some unconventional monetary policy measures should continue in 2021 to support the recovery and to ensure the market stability. This accommodative monetary policy led to an increase of private debt. The household debt increased by 8% in 2020 to reach almost the volume of the annual GDP. The corporate credit increased too by 10% in 2020 to reach almost $2 trillion, as companies benefit a lot from special loans to face the crisis. As a consequence, we observe a high level of liquidity first on monetary markets, as the aggregate M2 increased in April by 9% year on year. At the same time, the borrowed money is flowing into the stock and the real estate market. On the stock market, the KOSPI gained more than 50% since January 2020. After a break during 2020, we see a strong return of foreign investors too in Korean stocks, thanks to the rising expectation over global economic conditions. Foreign investors purchased a net amount of 2.5 trillion won worth of Korean stocks this month. And we see that this recent trend is fueled by the robust Q1 earning performance, which was published by, in particular, by Korean tech, semiconductor, and new energy companies. That the most popular stocks among foreign investors are Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, LG Chem, Kakao, SK Telecom, Naver, and also construction stocks such as Hyundai Engineering and Construction and JS Engineering and Construction, as the new mayor of Seoul and Busan, who were elected a few days ago, are expected to boost housing supply in their cities. Okay. Yes, we will now take a look at the Korean exports, which are one of the pillars of the Korean economy and a key driver of the ongoing recovery. Then exports decreased by 5.4% in 2020. Thanks to this resilience, again, Korea kept its 7th place in the ranking of major exporting countries. By product, ICT-related products such as semiconductor, computers, batteries has benefited a strong demand. In particular, computers jumped 57% in 2020. New growth items such as biohealth products, eco-friendly cars, and OLED panel also posted a strong increase. For the first quarter of 2021, the trend is very positive since Korean export increased by 13%. This is the largest ever quarterly volume since the customs agency began compiling related data. Then the monthly analysis even shows an acceleration as export increased by 17% in March. And almost all items experienced growth. The most important for Korea is semiconductor, as they account for 20% of Korea total export. After export of petrochemical to jump by 50%, and shipment of biohealth products will increase for 19 months and gain in Q1 44%. Also, the automotive sector is doing well after a difficult year in 2020. Exports in the automotive sector decreased by 13% in 2020, but increased in Q1 by 17% in volume and 32% in value, as there is also a change in the product mix favorable to premium, SUV, and low emission vehicles. Also, then Korea continue to be very active in negotiating free trade agreements. We saw it recently with the role played by the Korean diplomacy with the negotiation of the RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which was signed last November. And to date, Korea's free trade agreements cover 84% of the global GDP. There is, of course, the FTA with the European Union in 2011. But globally, then this trade policy is interesting for French export, of course, but also for companies wishing to invest in Korea to use it as a regional base. With the export, then the other pillar of the Korean economy is innovation. Korea is a very innovative country. It has 430,000 researchers, and the R&D sector employed more than 500,000 full-time equivalent, which is 16% more than in France, despite a smaller population. Then R&D spending reached 89 trillion won, roughly 66 billion euro, compared to 53 billion euro in France. For 2021, the government expects to reach 100 trillion won. Then the R&D spending ratio to GDP has reached 4.6%, which places Korea second worldwide behind Israel. The specificity of R&D in Korea, at least if we compare with France, is that most of R&D spending come from large groups. For example, Samsung Electronics is one of the companies which allocates the largest amount in the world to R&D, with 21 trillion won in 2020, around $19 billion, which means that Samsung spent more than all the French public institutions and including all the French universities. Then Korea also has returned to the first place in the Bloomberg Innovation Index, which was released last February against Germany, which dropped to fourth place and just above Singapore. And digital infrastructure in Korea are indeed very advanced, and Korea is a global leader in the ICT sector. Korea was the first country to develop the 5G network, and there are now 13 million 5G users in Korea. Korea continues to significantly expand its investment in ICT and strengthen digital infrastructure through its Digital New Deal policy. R&D spending are concentrated in particular on semiconductor, renewable energies, and artificial intelligence. The big three public programs aim in particular to focus on future cars, biohealth, and semiconductors. Then as the automotive sector is an important one for Korea, there are a lot of effort to support the transition to future cars, to acquire core technologies as batteries, fuel cell, autonomous vehicle sensor, self-driving software, and of course to develop the autonomous vehicle, zero emission vehicle, and all related services through a roadmap for driverless mobility services up to 2025. Sorry. Korea has also a large scale investment plan for biohealth industry, which is a new high priority sector. Under the plan, 41 actors of the sector should invest a combined 10 trillion won or $9 billion by 2023, mainly in developing medicines, medical equipment, and digital healthcare. To give you an idea of the doxa in Korea, the chairman of SK Bioscience announced a few days ago that he will move on COVID-19 vaccine, as he expects that the global market for COVID-19 will grow from $1 billion in 2020 to 16 billion in 2025. Yes, I will go Then yes, renewable energy is another very important field for innovation in Korea. And we'll see now with the Korean New Deal. The Korean New Deal, it's the Korean recovery plan, which was launched last year. The total amount is 160 trillion won, or $140 billion. The plan is divided in two parts, the Digital New Deal and the Green New Deal. For the green part, Korea announced last October the carbon neutrality for 2050. There are a lot of work, of course, to reach this objective, as Korea is now the 11th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world, and the 7th for the carbon dioxide emission. The Green New Deal also includes the objective to reach 1.13 million electric cars and 200,000 hydrogen-fueled cars by 2025. And there is also a project as a remodeling of all the houses and infrastructure to be more efficient. There is also big important project in renewable energy, such as, for example, Semangum offshore solar project for an amount of $6 billion, or the Shinan and Ulsan offshore wind project, which represents an investment of $45 billion and $36 billion, respectively, which makes them the most ambitious project in the world for offshore wind. Then after that, the Digital New Deal, the main objective is to build a digital economy. One of the major projects is the establishment of a huge big data platform through the DNA project, DNA for data, network, and artificial intelligence. Those data should be used in very diversified sectors as manufacturing or medicine industries. There is also some speciality for each territory in Korea, as you can see on the map. And the support of the state depends on the speciality of the territory. It is an important information. If you want to invest in one sector, you have to choose the good place. For the consumption trend, the private consumption then didn't collapse during the crisis, even if, of course, it was affected. In 2020, combined retail sales in Korea increased by 5.5% year on year, thanks to, as you may know, the strong online sales, which increased by 17%. Then in 2020, the offline sales decreased, but we see since in February, since the beginning of this year, a rebound for hotel sales and offline stores too. All the sales are increasing during February. Also, then the consumption trend is favorable for premium and luxury products. there is this phenomena we call the revenge shopping, in particular for automobile, for luxury product, and for food. Then in particular for French luxury brands, it was a good 2020 was a very good year. For foreign investment, then in 2020, foreign direct investment pledged to Korea amounted to $21 billion. FDI commitment lost 11% in 2020. And during this last year, in 2020, we see different trends according to the sector. In particular, there was a steady increase in ICT investment as artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing. Some sectors such as high-tech materials, semiconductors, and batteries, eco-friendly auto parts, and also all the investment within the framework of the Green Deal projects continue to attract investment. And for the first quarter of 2021, we see a clear improvement. Foreign direct investment pledged to Korea in Q1 increased by 45% year on year to $4.7 billion. And by origin, we see that they decrease from US and China, but they increase a lot from European Union. In particular, there was an important acquisition by a German company, the German company Delivery Hero, who buy the Bedalimin Joke, the Korea food delivery application. Then I put you at the right the condition to have a cash grant. There is a lot of a specific condition for foreign investors, of course, the cash grant and the tax incentives. It depends on many factors. Then if you need, of course, as Sonia will explain you, we can support you to get the higher amount of cash grant. And I will let you to continue. I was a little long, maybe.
No problem. So thank you, Cedric. So I'm going to try to be quick and go on the main aspects. So really quickly, who are we? So we are a Chamber of Commerce. So far, so good. We have about like 400 members. Which are both like startups, entrepreneurs, big groups, multinationals, like it's really various. We are also accompanying like companies in Korea or wants to develop in Korea in their development by providing them a wide range of services. Last but not least, we have like over like 30,000 followers. And about like a network of about like 60,000 contacts, which is really good, like to promote the activity of people we're working with, because of course it can have a bigger impact in Korea, and especially because, as you might see on the right part of this slide, Korea has some specific way to communicate it. So especially I'm thinking of Naver, which is really the way to communicate and get known in Korea. So regarding services we provide, as you might see here, we do not just only offer services of market studies and business plan preparation, for example, but we also do everything linked to B2B matching. So either to find an importer or a supplier, or maybe a R&D partner, like as Cedric said, like this is really something important in Korea. So we can help you find out the right person to work with you on your projects. We also accompany companies with what we call a part-time or full-time sales representative or business representation service. So this is usually the first step, when you have a partner in Korea, but you want to maybe boost a bit your business here without having a legal entity, like it's usually, the kind of corner like to develop it. So this is usually really appreciated by a company working with this. Then how to develop yourself in Korea. Usually, as I said, people used to work first with an importer. Why don't they work directly with the client, you might think? It's because the role of importer in Korea is really crucial. It's really the key part for your business development in Korea. It's really rare to see a company directly working with, for example, in F&B with hotel and restaurant. Usually they go with an importer which is gonna switch, after with his network and develop your business in Korea. It's really like a mutual role. It's a key role of the importer, like to expand. So it's gonna deal with everything linked to export, process until here, and it will also like enable you to benefit from his network in order to expand your business in Korea. The next step usually will be like what we call, as I said earlier, the part-time or full-time project manager or sales representative. This is really, as I said, really interesting. For example, we had that case of a company with Company. They were already present, they already had an importer, everything was going fine, but their importer was more specialized on a specific part of the market. They wanted to expand, but neither the importer neither them had the network to do so. So what they did is they asked us to be kind of their, to take the cap, of their company and to develop their business here. So this is what we do, and we had like we were kind of a bridge, if you want, between the company, the importers they already had here, and other potential partners in Korea. Another example, like to be quick again for this part, because I think it's interesting and really useful and handy solution. It was that company, they had a partner in Korea. Everything was going fine for some time, but then they kind of like trust between each other. So even though they worked together for 3 years, and they were like asking us to intervene because they would like to find maybe another supplier and buy them, like acquire them. So what we did is like our project manager went to the factory several times. They discussed with the CEO. They can try to understand what was the problem with them, between them, not just with them. And then like our project manager managed to kind of calm down the situation, make sure that the face between them was coming back. And eventually everyone's happy, and they are now looking together to acquire, like the French company, was a French company, is about to acquire that factory. So a good thing. So we had them with that. So anyway, you have your importer, your business is going well in Korea. You want to have a legal entity. This is really good. Your business is going well. And the next step. So what can you do? You're gonna have several choices to create your entity. So we had the liaison office, the branch office, or the subsidiary. The choice you have to make regarding this kind of structure will be linked to the activity you want to have. So for example, if you don't have a commercial activity, you're not going to sell something in Korea, then you can go for it as an office. If your activity is 100% similar to the one of the headquarters, whether it's in France or in Hong Kong or whatsoever, then you will go for a branch. However, if you want to be more flexible in the activity you want to have, so for example, in France, I'm saying France because I'm French, but in France, if you sell flowers, in Korea, you want to sell flowers and give lesson on how to make beautiful bouquet. In that case, there is a small difference. So you will go for a subsidiary to have a broader choice. So I will stop by there, like to be quick. However, I'm really more than happy. I know we went a bit through the time, but I'm more than happy to answer your questions regarding, establishing a company or anything else, either right now or later by email. Maybe I let you back, Andrew. Yeah. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yeah. I was. I'm suffering from the classic Zoom problem of being.
Okay, no worries.
So thank you. Yeah, what a fabulous presentation. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone got a lot of value from it. There were a few questions which we harvested on the way in. Is it easy to get a Korean visa?
Okay, so they have been like some changing modification like around the last few weeks. Maybe Cedric can explain about it.
Yeah, it was easy until last March. In fact, in March, on March 3rd, all the visa was suspended for French residents, for residents in France. And we are discussing with the Korean authorities since this time, since 1 month. Then now they accept to deliver some visa if for professional purpose and also for the families of the person, but not in the case of students or this kind of visa. It's very limited when we have no professional reason.
Okay.
It's still very difficult. There is also specific procedure to get the visa.
Okay, excellent. And another question that came in was, can a representative of a legal entity in Korea be a foreigner, someone who's not from Korea? Do you need a Korean nationality?
Yeah, actually, so if you want the representative to be in Korea, if you want him to be an employee of the structure and to develop your market, it's possible, but you have to name him as representative. So of course, you're gonna have like all the right link to that, and yeah, you will not be able to have a liaison office. You will have to choose between the branch or the subsidiary. So sometimes it can be not an issue, but something to consider because there are more costs and more, things you have to deal with linked to the branch or subsidiary in comparison with liaison office, which is more, of a light kind of structure, I would say. But yes, you can.
Okay. Justine, I don't know if you got any questions.
Yeah, maybe I have one. Like, for example, I would like to develop my company to South Korea, and is there any challenges that I can face when I want to expand my business to South Korea?
So generally speaking, I guess, right? Not especially for a legal entity. Yeah, right. So yeah, usually I would say that the main issue we encounter with company would be like cultural ones. Of course, there are some market entry issues that are complicated, and we have to know to be able to handle it in a way and to face it. And for this kind of problematics, we can support for members. We do advocacy. We can do market studies. However, if it's one thing that even though we do market study cannot come out, it would be like cultural differences. So we usually, when we do missions, tend to make a session to kind of enable people to understand how working with Korea and with Koreans, it can be really different. I had a case, we have a business center, by the way, just in that part of the screen you don't see, but we have a company over there, and they explained us how it was something complicated with some of their partners because they didn't manage, they were too direct in the process of discussing with the partners or potential partners, and it was in some ways kind of not enabling the trust between the two entities. And I said it earlier with the example of the sales representation, but trust between two people, not just between two companies, between two people is super important. So you have to first earn the trust of your partner in order to have a really good business development in Korea. Is really like the basis of that. So yeah.
Okay. And is it important to speak Korean when I want to expand my business to South Korea?
So yeah, once again, when we open a company, I always says, we going with you for the meeting, and they're like, no, it's fine. I'm gonna speak English. I'm fluent in English. It's gonna be okay. And like, no, the thing is that English can be, a way to not understand each other, even though like they sometimes do speak really good English. They might not have like the same way of thinking the thing when they explain it in English. So this is the first thing. And most important, usually in Korea, is a Confucianist country. And usually the higher you are in the hierarchy, the older you are as well. And usually the older generation in Korea are not so good in English. But once again, you can have some specific cases. but generally speaking, they're not so good in English. So they will have maybe an assistant or a younger person who's been living in the US or in the UK or whatsoever and speaking really great English, but they are not the people making the decision. So I would say that at the beginning, at least, it is really crucial to have someone speaking Korean with you, or at least to help you out with this thing in order to, once again, to get the trust. And once the trust is here anyway, there's better writing English than speaking it, because they don't want to lose, to look stupid. They want to be nice, and they don't want to, they're worried that their English might not be so good that you might not be able to communicate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to you.
Great. I think one more question which came up, which I thought was pretty interesting, was if I have an entity in Korea, are there limits on the amount of non-Korean staff that I can have there?
Yeah, really good question. So, which can be tricky as well when you want to develop here. I don't know, maybe I can go on? Okay, great, sorry. So in Korea, usually you have what we say quota. So you need to have one foreigner for 5 Koreans. So if we take the example of earlier, if you have one foreign representative, you're going to need a basis. If you want them to have like other foreigner, to employ other foreigner, you need to first employ 5 Korean nationals. So it can be really Korean nationals or foreigners married to a Korean national. In the case, it counts as a Korean, but the rule will be 1 for 5. And it can be sometimes tricky when you need a specific expertise that maybe you don't have in Korea. You think someone in abroad has it. But yeah, you have to keep this in mind in your business development as well.
But we are discussing a lot about this problem with the Korean authorities, because when French people want to establish his company in Korea, usually at the beginning he wants to work with French people, and after, if he grows, he wants to hire Korean people, and it is what we explain to Korean authorities, and then they open some flexibility now for IT companies and also high technologies, then for advanced technologies. Then we can get some exemption with this principle now. We are still discussing to have more exception because it's a reduced sector. But we are working on that, and the trend is good. I think they, as Korean authorities, they listen very well what we are saying when it's to attract foreign investors. And it's, I think, very legitimate for us to ask to be able to hire at the beginning when we establish the company more foreigners. And of course, after, when it becomes big companies, we can apply the general rules.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I've got another question just came in. Now, I hesitate to ask it because I know that it's probably the subject of a 3-day seminar, and maybe we can do that in the future. But as Maria asks, what similarities and differences can you find between the way of doing business in Europe and the way of doing business in Korea?
So I can start maybe. There are big differences. So first, I think like in France we are more direct, as I said earlier. In Korea, we will more take time like to know each other before like going to the real topic. Korea is also like the country of 빨리빨리 in Korean, which means vite, so quick. So everything is going super fast. But the funny thing is that they're expecting you to answer really quickly to their questions and to what they need. However, sometimes they can be a bit slow to answer as well, to take decisions, because they need to go through the hierarchy as well. So I would say, yeah, Pali, the direct thing. What could you add, maybe?
Yeah, we can have a lot of examples. And for example, also we think that it's more the institut personnel is more important. What the relation, the personal relation with your interlocutor is more important. As usually in France, we are more rational, and we want to see what the company do and who are the person, his qualification. But in Korea, it can be more personal. We want there is a link, something we feel that we can work together, and after everything goes well.
And Julie, for that, like to complete, like they ask you, they can ask you like, what's your age? To what school did you go? What do you like? Because each of these things, are gonna enable them to kind of tick the boxes and see what's gonna link you together. So, for example, if you both love golf, you're really like a fan of golf, then it can be a thing that makes you a bit closer to him, and then like they're gonna be really happy to talk with you. And by this, well, with the COVID, it is a bit different, but usually they really tend to invite you to have dinner together, to go to the karaoke, to drink a lot, even sometimes for the first meeting. But you should not say no, because for them it's a way to bond together and to get closer. So of course with the COVID it's a bit, a bit different. It's not that easy. But yeah.
Well, I take you up on that straight away, Sonia, and